welcome. Thank you for joining me here at the Lightroom Forecast. Today, this is in the series of altered perspectives where we've been looking at the energy centers, the basic 7 chakras from the root to the crown, doing a sort of general overview of each one and a reading centered around each one. Be doing over the last few weeks, and this week I'm going to do the throat, the will center, and we'll be looking at the third eye as well. So this is it's a very general reading. It's a collective reading, and we'll go into what these basically energy centers are, where the throat and the third eye, the mind, what they're sort of about, which you probably know anyway, and there's a lot of information out there. I'm only covering really a basic sort of level of it. So where we start at the throat, at the will center, and really this is about how, obviously, in our throat, our voice box, it is how we use our words, how we express ourselves out there in the world, and kind of important, how we use our words. Do we live up to what we speak? Do we live what we speak? Or do we just shoot out a lot of stuff randomly? Some of the time, I guess we do, without thinking, without thinking or putting too much thought into it. But it is the point of where heart, mind, body, and spirit reside in this area, because we're really actioning movement. It's really important, this throat area, where the ideally the third eye, the mind and the heart, are really having a wonderful free flow dialogue through the center, which you could say is divine will, and there is a surrendering to this in some ways, depending on how you choose to look at it. So it's a very important position in terms of how or what we see as our own personal authority. And again, I always talk about personal integrity. We move from there to the mind. We're doing these two both this week because I think it is quite appropriate at this time where we're coming into, slight delay, where we're coming into this new moon in Pisces, which there are elements in this new moon that are highly charged in terms of not only the fact that it's a new moon and we're planting new seeds and ideas with this new moon, but it is the fact that it is in Pisces, and there's some other planetary things going on, which I'm not an astrologer, of course, but that are really heightening this Piscean new moon. What was I saying? The potential for imaginings, for thoughts, dreams, to really be not solidified at this point, but certainly gauged and felt. And, this huge capacity to be inspired, to be inspired by music, art, whatever activity in nature, whatever it happens to be, which could bring in some amazing some amazing ideas up here in the mind area, in the mind center, the third eye area, which does cover the rational mind, the pineal gland. It's where we really, in a rational sense, juggle up whether an idea can be taken into the next level. Is it honoring, ourselves or the people around us, or, there are so many different factors involved. So this third eye area, does, it kind of acts as a cooking chamber of sorts, a cooking pot for what we've sort of been, this dialogue between mind and heart and will. They're all in communication, all at the same time. So it's quite fascinating, really, isn't it? Anyway, so I think, around this new moon time, it's really potent. Like, it's really, really potent time for things to be becoming and beginning in their burgeoning stages of growth. A really good beginning point. And of course, being a new moon, ideally we've kind of cleared, cemented a few things over the last, period of time, so that we are clear and ready to have these new seeds of inspiration coming to us. The rational, the mind, the third eye area, rules, of course, attitudes as well. Attitudes, judgments, I guess, where and however that is played out, in any individual. So what our ability to create, really, our ability to create certain things that we either want, need, or that we require, for our will center. It's all determined by the balance. Certainly, once we get to the heart, and moving our way up to the crown, it's a really high amped zone. From the solar plexus down, we're dealing with pretty fundamental basics of survival, more so an instinct. Once we're moving up from the heart, this is really, we're pulling in a lot of things that are not necessarily involved in basic survival mechanisms, I guess. This is where it starts to come out and be presented in the world. It becomes apparent to you, it becomes, what I'm trying to say is, it becomes apparent to you in what you see around you, how these centers are working together. Are they balanced? It's a great thing to do in meditation or walking in nature, or is to just move through your body as you breathe, as you walk. If you were dancing, playing music, just doing a bit of free flow stuff, which is perfect for this new moon in Pisces. But it's a great thing to just go through and just observe. We're observing. There's a lot to be said for observation. Anyway, God, so I hope I've, haven't been going on and on and on there. What I'm doing here today is we're going to be pulling a card first and foremost for this will center, where our heart, mind, body, spirit combine. And then we'll pull a card for the third eye, and then we'll come back to the base and pull some cards leading up to the crown. And then we'll go through and possibly clarify if need be. It's a very general reading, people. It's a very general collective reading, and it was sort of like just for me, I wanted to bring in those chakras in some way into these readings. I haven't quite figured out how I'll do it yet, but because I think it is highly beneficial to be aware of these energy centers, just like your blood pressure, just like any sort of element of your energetic system, whether it be physical or more etheric, energetic, emotional, whatever. So let's see, let's get a card first and foremost here for the will center at this time. Wow. So we get, we'll lay them out and then I'll talk about it. We get need, which is specifically to do with this center, with the will center, and that our heart and our mind really needs to be in connection, because often it's not. And this is where we get confused. It's very confusing sometimes. So pertinent, very good that we get the card of need, which is all about this balance. This balance. Okay. Now, journey map 4. The third eye area, this amazing sort of mind. Wow. I'm going to come back through, as I said. We get new epoch. This is a whole new beginning. This is a whole new, different way, actually, of looking at where we are, what we're doing. As I say, people are becoming, humanity is becoming far more sensory, beyond the 5 or 6 senses at this, certainly over this time. So now we head back to base. We see this amazing kind of thing that's happening up here. Excuse me, let's go to base. We get the compass mistress. Now we're going to go through and talk about it. We head up to the sacral, the navel area, where we come out from our base, from our tribe, and start to have relationship with ourselves and with other. We come to the solar plexus. Let's see. One card for the solar plexus, please. Thank you. One card for the solar plexus. If you haven't watched any of these chakra videos before, I am using my own deck, the Journey Map, because it came about, this particular deck, from my own investigation over quite a period of time of my own personal energy centers, these 7 chakra centers. Of course, there are more energy points that go beyond the physical body as well, and within the of course, many points, many other smaller points, many other points in the physical body also. Now, just a card for the heart, please, at this time, for the global collective. Wow. And will, third eye, and crown, please. And then we'll read this. Crown. Wonderful. Wonderful. You know, and I do feel it may well be a great thing to do to get some, just a level of kind of peeling back the veil from each one of these cards. So we're going to start from the base, people. For this chakra reading leading up to this new moon, at the base, which is our point of our belonging, our foundation, our tribe, the family in which we are born into, the environment we're born into. At this point currently, and we are speaking very generally, collectively, we get the compass mistress. At the top of the card it says, it is okay. This is about where we feel that we've lost our way. We've lost our foundation of sorts. Maybe it's shifted. I do believe it has. Of course, it still doesn't mean I'm speaking in metaphor maybe here. The compass mistress comes to us when, for that period of time, which happens many times over a lifetime, we feel that we have lost our way in terms of direction. Where are we going? Look, I don't think it could be more appropriate for the global world, for the world right now. So this beautiful compass mistress says to us, look, it's okay. Take a deep breath. There are 4 directions. Of course, there are many other directions, but you get my gist on this one. So this is interesting in the placement of the base chakra, which is about our fundamental, really guttural survival, our loyalties to the tribe that we're born into. Now, you know, when we mature, grow, often, depending on situations, you know, some of those loyalties are, look, let's face it, in certain scenarios can be very detrimental, can be very harmful. But anyway, and at the same time, those loyalties can be an amazing foundation for us through our lifetime. So it's, you know, it is like luck of the draw, depending on the environment that we're born into. But we work with this. We all just do. So that's what we get for the base today. We move to the sacral, around the navel area. This is where we venture out, you know. I always think of it as more of a dualistic position. We start to have a relationship with ourselves, and in turn, we look outward. We're starting to relate to others. How do we negotiate? How do we compromise? All of this sort of stuff. I think there is a turning point at this moment in time, collectively, where we have data dreaming. We're picking up more info on this. So it's kind of like, well, I'm not prepared. Hello, I'm not ready to negotiate quite yet because I don't have all the information. Okay, bye, I'll talk to you later. It's kind of like that. Data dreaming is a card of taking note of just some of the impressions one can have, if often, sometimes not, but those impressions that we have upon waking, that there's a lot of information, this card suggests, in dream time that we can access. There's a lot of information. Now, we don't necessarily do that consciously, but we can, in fact, retrieve, to remember it can be the simplest thing. It can be numbers, shapes, words. But there is information to be had here, and it's kind of like here globally, around the world, the collective. We're still collecting. We need to collect more data, in order to be able to, because in effect what we are doing, I think, as a world is starting out. It's a funny kind of scenario, isn't it? Because it's like an evolutionary thing. It's not like something just ended and something new began and it's all shiny and honky-dory. There's all the residues from, we can't see, into the future. Well, generally not. We can have ideas about what that future may be. But so we've got a merging of past, present, and future, I think. That's the way I see it at the moment. And we all know, we're heading into different territory. We're heading into, we always are through life, aren't we? Collectively, individually, we always are. But I do feel this, and certainly with data dreaming, this idea that we are becoming more than just our six senses. We're becoming far more sensitized, not only in terms of our relationship with the planet, with the earth that sustains us, that's part of us, and the animals and every every life form on this planet. We're becoming very aware of our responsibilities to this life-giving planet that we are part of. I get that. Anyway, now, so we move up to the solar plexus, to this area here where when we feel betrayed, we really feel it in our gut. It is a area of where largely self-esteem, our levels of self-esteem exist. Everything that made us feel like we were okay, external things even, often, what things represent our personal values or our personal value. Anyway, in the solar plexus, peoples, we get eruption, which is a shock. It's a reconfiguration. It's an explosion. Obviously, there's a curved ladder. What we think is possibly our trajectory, this ladder. Well, all ladders are straight, aren't they? That's there, but no. This is a curvy ladder. It's not all what it appears to be, but with eruption, there is a beauty that comes out of it. There's beauty in it when you see flames, and this amazing like venting of nature. I was just up a little bit further north on the east coast and swimming and just looking straight out at White Island, Whakaari, and it's just constantly like it's quite a few miles away, but it's a volcanic, constantly blowing smoke now. It's constantly doing that, and that the whole area is just like pimples on the landscape, venting steam. It's alive. It's just wow. It makes us, it made me, little human, feel like a tiny pea, like a tiny pimple. And it does. This earth is amazing. But anyway, I digress. What comes out of an eruption, a surprise, a shock, a rejigging, a reconfiguration, is the need to rebuild. these foundations from whence the compass mistress appears, saying, yes, a new direction needs to be taken, is what I'm saying here. And the beauty that comes from an eruption, the crystalline forms of obsidian, a beautiful cut glass, a beautiful natural phenomenon of lava being immersed in the seas. Excuse me. So that's for the solar plexus. As we move to the heart currently, which is quite beautiful, we get the card of fruition. She's intertwined with life. This card speaks of non-events. What may seem to be a non-event actually turns out to be something of incredible impact, incredible not result, but process that's just occurred. This pregnant, gorgeous woman is surrounded by just germination. It's happening all around her. And above her we see the fruit that's ripened. It kind of indicates the cycles of life, I guess, in that sense as well. But we see that she's intertwined with there's just germination just happening and coming up everywhere around her. This is a beautiful card. This is, and in the heart position, it's like focusing on conscious compassion, self-forgiveness, all of that stuff. It may appear that nothing really comes from it, but in fact, and speaking of our will, our throat center, what comes of it are those ripples, that I was talking about, like the smallest words that you might mention to someone that you've never met before. You're in a shop, can make huge. I mean, I'm not, it's not a sort of self-inflatory exercise. It's just like to say to someone, wow, I don't know, I just love your the way you've put your outfit together. You look fabulous. I mean, it can be that simple. Of course, you can get a bit deeper with it. But it can be that simple. Now, those ripples can go out way beyond what you think, way beyond what you actually even think. And fruition is about that too. And the magnetics of the nature of the heart, where we send this, we sort of filter it, we move it through ourselves and then filter it out. Of course, no one's perfect. It's hard work. It's a struggle sometimes. And sometimes we don't quite do it the way we would like to. But it's an incredibly valuable practice of awareness, is what I'm saying. So now we move from the heart, this beautiful beating, pumping generator that can create amazing new beginnings, new seeds. It's certainly at this new moon in Pisces time. At the throat, at the will center, divine will. We search for a balance here, that we're not living in a kind of personal servitude where we are not expressing, doing what we fully feel that is our purpose. Our purpose. Sometimes the most fearful thoughts in terms of, say, a career direction or Doesn't have to be that, but a direction. All right, I'm going to go here, or I'm going to... Sometimes the most fearful thoughts that delight you but actually scare the hell out of you at the same time are those sort of intuitive hits that are guiding you in what for this moment or this period in time is probably a damn good purpose, you know. Anyway, so we have this beautiful card of need, which is having the heart and the mind in a real free flow dialogue, excuse me, in order to be able to understand, to be consciously aware of what we speak. Do we live by our word? Are we honouring ourselves? Because when we are able to, we tend to not have circular dramas going on in our lives constantly, the same dramas going around in a circle, different context, plus other offshoots. So this is a beautiful card, beautiful. Need. The need for balance is always a great priority, people. Now, third eye, so much activity going on, 360-degree viewpoint, pineal gland there, lots of new information. We're trying to rationalize everything, putting it into compartments. Whatever we do with our mind, our attitudes, general attitudes sort of determine this. We have the new epoch, maybe on a psychic, mental level. You know, globally we are aware that we are entering a new epoch. This is about a new epoch, a new decade of time. And when I produced these cards at the end of 2019, you know, this card really, it did feel like things were building up to some kind of, you know, that there were a lot of things going on. You could almost see, I'm not saying, you know, seeing pandemics happening or anything, but you could see this sort of shifts in the structures around us, in the big systems that everything's set up upon. So this new epoch, we're aware of it. Our awareness is expanding. Our ability to imagine new things is expanding. And is this not a perfect time? We're talking collectively here, but just even individually with this. Oh, there's a lovely wee moth. Oh, bumblebee actually. Thought it was a moth. At this time of the Piscean New Moon, what a wonderful time to think of all the amazing things that maybe we would like to do, that we've always wanted to do or never had the opportunity to do. Let our imagination grow and glow on a personal level, and also, you know, thinking, wow, there's so many amazing things that can be reformed or restructured in this global environment. Anyway, now we get to the crown. We've looked through here at every point. I'll do an overview in a minute. I was just getting a bit carried away. At the crown, we get Lady of the Hearth, this beautiful environment. It's about gathering together, about having the awareness that people gathering together, sharing ideas, is and can be an incredibly nurturing, fulfilling place to be. We were not just restricted in our tribal group or our, I'm not saying that's restrictive, I'm just saying if that was the, the sort of more collective way of working, collective way of building, and having an awareness that everyone is going through, everyone is a human, fellow peoples. Everyone has trials and tribulations. Everyone is in many and varying different scenarios and situations. But it's the coming together, the commonality of, nourishment and warmth that can be generated amongst human spirit. Respecting others, it's the ideal situation. It's the ideal place of warmth, of nurturing. But it's also about working together and that everyone here is welcome. It's like everyone's contribution, everyone is welcome. So that's a beautiful thing to have coming down through the crown, where in a really visceral way, I think in that sacral area, we're digesting at the moment new information, new, what could you say, new energies are coming in, really. It's the nature of evolution, isn't it? So it's quite interesting, people. So I hope you got something out of that. I don't know. I don't think we need to go and clarify. We see, it's just a quick overview, we see at the base area, we've lost our, which way? Where do I go next? At the base, at the root, at our foundation. Where do I go next? Because I know something new is happening. And we need to be pretty fluid, I think. Well, I feel that I do. I mean, not everyone, I'm not saying everyone feels like that. Then we move to the sacral, this point of relationship with others, relationship with ourselves, and we're actually getting new information coming through. We're not ready to negotiate yet. Sorry, bye. We're just waiting. We're just waiting. We get to the solar plexus. Oh man, there's big changes occurring, but something really amazing always comes out of it, my friends. We get to the heart. The heart, man, there's new, not only is there new information coming in, we've got new, pockets and chambers that are waking up in our hearts. And see all this new growth. We underestimate its impact, but we can't, because it just will come, wow. It is the most impactful centre in terms of the way that it can radiate, in terms of the way that it can change things, protect things, make the sun come out pretty much. We move to the will centre, the throat, and we see this direction for this free flow balance, this dialogue, to continue the dialogue, even when it's difficult. Let's continue the dialogue. We get to the third eye. We consciously are aware that this is a whole new beginning. There's a whole new beginning. And the crown, maybe a shift in focus, more nurturing approach, more collective approach, more welcoming, working in groups, which always has its pitfalls, yes. but this sort of a collective awareness, the need to nurture, the need of nurturing. Look, I think this is fascinating. Anyway, I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Cheerio. Bye. Bye-bye.